80 is what percent of 125? Normally when you're doing a percent calculation, you use the is over of percent proportion. So the is over of equals the percent over 100. Now let's look at this sentence. 80 is, so the 80 is the is, and the what is the percent. So that means this percent we don't know. That's going to be the x. Now the of 125, so the of is the 125, and then the 100 is always 100. So this is how you set up a percent proportion. And these are very easy to solve. So this would be 125 times x equals 80 times 100, or 125x equals 8,000, and then divide by 125. I'm going to do that on a calculator. So 8,000 divided by 125, 64. So x equals 64. And so really the answer is 64% for this proportion up here. Notice this x is 64, but it's not written as a percent. It's 64 to 100, which makes this whole thing a percent. So if we want to make a percent equation, we have to unitize this proportion over here, and specifically this ratio on the right. So the is over of is not going to be equal to percent over 100. It's going to be equal to the unitized percent. Okay, so what that means is instead of 64%, you're going to have an equation where it would be is over of equals 0.64 in this case if we're using these same numbers. And the is would be the 80, and the of is the 125. Okay, now if we wanted to make this a full percent equation, here's what we would do, is we would say is over of equals just the unitized percent, and then over 1. So we would cross multiply here, and we would get the is equals the of times the unitized percent. So this is a percent equation. And you can switch these around. Oftentimes it's written the other way. So here's how this would work for solving this problem. The is 80, so we'd say 80 equals, and then the of is 125. And the percent we don't know is x. So to figure out this x, we just divide by 125 on both sides. So 80 divided by 125. That equals 0.64. Now that's the unitized percent. Okay, so this is the percent equation. You have is equals of times the unitized percent, which is different than the percent proportion, because notice you have a 64 here, but here you have a 0.64, which is unitized. Either way, it's 64%.